Good morning and welcome to another great episode of Enterprise Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. We'll be starting off today with our newspaper headlines, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. But please do well to be part of what we do. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. We have today in the studios with us Innocent Aduluba, communicator and public affairs analyst. Welcome, Mr. Innocent.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's start off quickly with the Guardian newspaper for today, and let's of course get straight to our talking point for today. Obasanjo 7 ex-leaders seek debt relief for African countries, and that's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Innocent Aduluba, speak to us. This is the second time, if I would be corrected, that past President Olusegun Obasanjo is asking for debt relief for African leaders. He did it when he was the president of Nigeria between 1999 and 2007, and that of course was forgiven. Now we have trillions of naira debt. Do you think it's possible for the West to forgive our debt yet again?
Well, kudos to General Olusegun Obasanjo. What he did at that time was most commendable. And then he lived the life of, in quotes, a beggar. He came to beg for relief, and he lived prudently.
Yeah.
But upon his departure and post Omar Yar'Adua regime, following his passing, the government is an avenue of opulence. And I'm wondering if I'm living affluently and asking you to pardon a debt, if you will. You know, private jets, you paint house for this amount, renovate for, you know, if we're looking for debt relief, it's awesome. It's a good thing. But are we living? I mean, they say he who goes borrowing goes sorrowing. I don't think we are sorrowing within this mood, this project. So we should be seen, the government should be seen to live Spartan lives. If you ask me, there's a National Assembly is a bicameral legislature with the Senate and the House of, Federal House of, one of them should go.
Should go?
Yeah. If we really are looking at where we are in debt and we want to...
Do you think that alone would cut the debt that we have?
But that would cut massively. It will cut massively. Another thing I think is the government should pay itself less. The take home of a politician, no matter what name they give it, from the National Assembly to State House of Assembly, governor, minister, is awesome. Another thing again is we should cut down office duplication. You have Minister of Health, Minister of State for Health, Minister of Education, Minister of State for Education, and each of them have their, I don't know. So
their portfolios
you don't
their budgets.
Yes, if they give us the debt relief like they did Obasanjo in the days of yore, and we sustain the present lifestyle, we will fall into debt again.
But one thing, it's often very quite common to see average Nigerians make the statement you just made, that those who go borrowing go sorrowing. For those in government, especially for this government, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he would always say that borrowing is not actually a bad thing, because you have what it is spent for and you have a way of repaying back.
During the build-up to the 2023 presidential elections, there were big messaging about borrowing. I would digress to say, notably from the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, who spoke repeatedly. He says, borrowing is a good thing. Borrowing for production is a good thing. Borrowing for consumption is a bad thing. If the borrowing is a good thing, what are we borrowing for? If I was working in a place, I have social number of children, a social number of rooms, this is the school fee, this is my family budget, and I fall from that earning. the prudent thing to do is to swap my children from that school which I could afford before to a lower one.
Yeah.
Move to a lower accommodation and live modestly, prudently. Every year, in this situation we are in, the government rolls out budget surplus.
Yes.
And then we borrow to fund the budget. So we are not demonstrating habits symptomatic of people. This is like remorse. You are asking for pardon. And then we are in the governance is opulence. You need to see how many people follow one vehicle of an incumbent and sirens blaring. It's usually a spectacle. People from their houses come to stay until the dust fade out. And that's resources in wastages.
That's gasoline burning.
Anything you call it, So the budget from state to federal should be deficit, should be one we are playing catch up to meet. I just give you myself as an instance. Yeah. I cannot be borrowing to fund my old lifestyle when I'm on a lesser income. My debts will pile up, and with the people who we go to give us debt relief, yes. Some of us, the Nigerian politicians, live a higher affluent life than them. They do. So you cannot see such lavish and be waiting for them to come beg you for debt relief, and you just wave it away with a wave. It's dialectic. It's the opposite of what we are living, the opposite of what we crave.
Well, we can look at it both ways. It's just like an analyst that we had, some times back, who said that accomplices actually should be held guilty to some of the crime of taking our loot out of the country to the West, because when they take such money and keep to themselves and run businesses and give loans to their businesses and entrepreneurs and make multiple gains out of it, of course it doesn't there's nothing bad if they totally forgive us, knowing that most of the money they are even forgiving are money we took to their financial institutions.
I'm wondering, maybe I need to be educated. Must a country have foreign reserve?
Well, to weather the storm.
What storm?
When there are crises.
What's wrong if that money was reserved in your own country, and then when there are crises, you dip into it?
Well, it all depends on valuation. Because you can compare our currency. There's a national or international, currency every country deals with. So if we keep our money to ourselves in naira, and of course we're still dealing in dollars, it doesn't make any sense.
You see, that's where there's a distortion around the bend. If Nigeria, we used to be manufacturers in textile, rubber, radio, television, some automobile manufacturing. We were second world's largest producer of groundnut and second exporter to Senegal. Oil we were refining here. If we have a Nigerian reserve, but we run and operate a favorable balance of trade in the international system, that does not in any way cripple the size and value of your currency at the point of market exchange. It doesn't. So I don't know. We are part of the global system. We will operate the way the global system, globalization goes. But, all of these answers are here.
Are embedded in us.
Yes, they are embedded in us. There is coal in Enugu, there is tin in Jos, salt, beniseed in soya beans in Benue,
most recently lead and other minerals in Nasarawa, and of course the Zamfara gold, which we still cannot account for.
Yes, unfortunately. If you want to go for debt relief, Nigeria needs a self-audit, an audit that speaks truth to ourselves. Because I will fall back to my example. You are my neighbor, or you are a money lending institution. You can see I'm not at the level I was, and I keep borrowing. You see me, I strut my style around, and then I ask you for debt pardon. I mean, you will tell me to cut my coat according to my size. Governance. The other time there was a hearing towards the impeachment saga of former President Donald Trump, who is now returned elected.
Yeah.
And three of the most senior senators who came to Washington said they jointly rented a 3-bedroom flat. You stay in one room, B in one room, C in one, and they just share the living room to gist, watch TV, and go do their work. And when they were done, they returned.
Left.
3 of the longest and most senior senators. Here, one person has a penthouse suite with how many rooms to himself?
Yeah, not to forget, just most recently, Governor Nyesom Wike, and who is the FCT minister, actually made possible about 10 billion naira for 4 senators to pay or to offset their rent and furnitures and all that. But let's
10
look
billion.
At 10 billion. 10 billion,
And
exactly.
does that cut the picture of a country seeking debt relief?
Very true. But let's take a look at this other issue on the Daily Trust newspaper. Band B customers not paying enough for electricity, Minister. So there is an ongoing desire by Adelabu, the Minister of Power, to increase, a tariff for Band B and Band C customers.
You look at what they call, is it Gencos, Discos, and the
yeah.
other. And I wonder, I'm wondering if education is a cause. Is obscene.
Help us make sense of that.
Yes, I'm wondering if it is a bad thing to be thoroughly educated. Sometimes I'm wondering if I should be illiterate. So the less I hear, the more sanity I retain. Look, this country is blessed. What are our present sources of power? And how long have we been that way? There are dams across Shiroro, Kainji, all of this in Niger State. We don't know the viability of Egbe here in this part.
Yes.
I don't even know if from the whole of the southeast region, if there is one dam. If I claim to be educated from where I sit, I don't know if there is one dam from okay, look at the vast river Benue down to Anambra, Kogi, Ebonyi, Imo, who else is the Cross River, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom rivers. I don't know if there is a dam, and all that area is about Nigeria's most drained part. And when we say drained, they'll tell you that land is drained by rivers. There is a river Cross, which is Cross River. There is the river Anambra, which is the Anambra River.
All coming from the Niger.
Some of them, no, the Anambra is a tributary of the river Niger. All right. But the river Cross, I think its source or the mouth is around Oron, coming in through Odukpani into the Cross River thoroughly with a bridge at Itu there. And then you have, there are other, Imo is a river. That name, Imo, is a river. With a mass recreational body of water around Oguta and the rest of them.
Lake.
So with all of this, my logic is, what is the kilometer distance from Kainji to Calabar? So whatever power from any grid reaching Port Harcourt, reaching Aba, reaching Omoahia, reaching Ikom, Ogoja, Calabar, Ikorekpene, Uyu, is a residue. If you look at when they make palm oil, those are already coagulated. The top quality ones would have fallen along the way. I don't know if an electrician or the discos will give us a better education. So, if there is a small river like Imo, why don't we dam the Imo River? So it serves the immediate community, and you cut it off the Kenji one. The American president, one of them, I think, was one man who built a massive dam, and he had died. They named the dam after him, Hoover Dam.
But the crux of the matter here is not. There's no problem with power generation in Nigeria.
Really?
Yes, where we have a problem is transmission and distribution.
Really?
Yes, because there are three tripods that allows us, see power in our homes. There's a generation, there's transmission, there's distribution.
So I will ask you, where is it generated from?
Yeah, so where we have a problem, because if you even take, you see that most of the neighboring countries, we still supply them power from the generation that we do.
What are the points?
Because there are not enough offtake. That's the problem we have. There ain't enough offtake of power generated
from the source.
Yes.
Where are the sources?
According to statistics, we actually do 20 horsepower of electricity in per annum in Nigeria. So it is the problem is not generation. What we have a problem is the dilapidated nature of our transmission lines and distribution. Because so when you hear the national grid falling apart, is the transmission. So I guess the issue should be, how can we better maintain our transmission lines, because most of them are archaic. So if we can better maintain them, then we can have efficient distribution.
I like your education.
In our homes.
I like your education. My point is, Nigeria should awake from over-centralization. You cannot centralize power and call it national grid. And where that dam, look at what you are saying now. There is a wear and tear of transmission equipment that is not being refurbished or maintained.
Yeah.
So that distance is too far for my local brain. Maybe there are a more modern or educated way of doing it. So I'm saying, if there is a river and a dam at Kainji, there is also a river called Ogun that can carry a dam. So where that national grid is suffering this transmission wahala, the people proxy to this small dam can enjoy and then I don't want to go to gas, where you see us struggling even with refining. There we don't have data or facts yet if Dangote refinery traps or saves or utilizes gas. Or if, as modern as it still flares, then we all consider in Nigeria that solar can be an alternative. But we are around the equator where the sun is at its hottest. You just watch a weather report, and I'm sure people from the Scandinavia, people from Iceland, maybe Estonia, who are those around the Arctic, Latvia, Belarus, or people from Australia, New Zealand would envy the sunlight we get in Nigeria. And for all of these vast blessings from the natural source, we're here. Today we'll speak grammar. I was not in primary school yet when I know that they seize electricity.
Because NEPA is actually
and at the time,
first word.
At the time, they used to announce it over the radio. By the time I had finished my NYSC from that time, it was approximately 25 years later. And the first television I bought, I had gone to look at it, what they call window shopping, for over 6 months and saved my money. I was just sitting like this one day, power went off, and I heard an ugly sound from the TV. And that was the day I realized that families are bearing costs that is no fault of theirs. So transmission, distribution, all lumped together, plus the bill you pay, and you say band B don't pay enough. A lot of witchcraft is happening in homes. If a small boy like me, a copper, fresh from some, bought a television, and the distributors, the discos or the gencos, whoever they were at the time, conspired to spoil it, I should wear black and do funeral because it was good money I got it at the time. So I don't think at this stage the problem is people in Band B not paying enough. So it means this is hinting at asking them to pay more for a service that is yet to be satisfactory. So those people should go back and take care of what you've mentioned, maintained equipment of transmission, maintained equipment in distribution, provide quality service before you talk about a rise in costs. of
Very, very true.
services.
Yes, because the truth remains that Nigerians are actually not scared of paying bills. We are not scared of paying bills. But the problem we have is when the services required to pay such bills are not commensurate with the tariff that we hope to pay. That is where the problem is. So we just sincerely hope that the government will do the needful, ensure that services are provided. Then you can ask yourself if the people can pay, because Nigerians can actually pay. But when such services are not provided, it's a very big problem. Yes, that's about the time we have for this segment, and we'll be right back for our main conversation. That is when we return. Lagos Assembly Obasa returns as our Conde or Shoba panel intervention collapses. That in a bit. Please don't go anywhere.